It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey, Gary.
Hey, Steph. How are you?
I am back from Indianapolis in one piece. How are you?
I'm glad to have you back. The office is totally different when you're not around to giggle.
Oh, yes, because people actually get work done. So I'm sure that the office is very different when I'm not here. Well, remember I walked in the office yesterday. I just threw the door open. I was like, I'm back. No more work's getting done today. Everyone pay attention to me. Thank you. But,
they are paying attention to you, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. But yeah, no,
how was the show? I mean, obviously we've seen the response from what you shared with us, and we've also seen online what people are talking about it. And I don't think we've got an official attendee number, but I heard it was around 1,200, something like that.
I mean, yeah, that sounds about right. Like, as I said last week, it just wasn't, if you were expecting it to be a regular CEDIA, then, you just were going to go in disappointed. But if you kind of went in with no expectations and you went in just being like, I just want to have the best show we can have, then it was a great show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it makes sense. I feel bad for I feel bad for the CD of the organization. I feel bad for the exhibitors. I mean, it's just a bad situation, bad timing, but we did cover the show and we got a lot of coverage. By the way, you're watching rAVe TV, our weekly Wednesday TV show that comes to you on ravepubs.com. It comes to you on Twitter. It comes to you on LinkedIn. We're coming to you as many places we can think of. I think even Facebook today. And so we're broadcasting to you live. It's a quick 20 to 30 minute show every day. And the big news, we try to address the big stories of the week. And obviously the big story of this past week was CEDIA. And we do have some coverage of CEDIA, don't we? Talk about
we do. The so first of all, our assistant editor, Katie Clark, she wrote up just a few highlights of a few of the videos that we take. As you know, they're still going up. We've got almost all of them up, but there are still just a few that we're just retitling and double checking that the names are right, that the products are right. But she wrote up just a few of the videos that she liked and just wanted to highlight in a little piece. You can find that on ravepubs.com, and included in that is my interview with Jason Mcgraw, where I just I met up with him on the show floor, and had a couple minutes to really chat with him and just see what he thought of the show. So I do have a clip of that prepared, so we're going to play it for you real quick.
Excellent.
Hey everybody, Steph Beckett here at CEDIA Expo 2021. I am here with Jason Mcgraw, and we are on day 2 of the show, and it looks like people are still talking. It looks like all the manufacturers are still very busy with the attendees. So yeah, just tell me generally, how's it been going? How has feedback been? I've heard nothing but good things.
Thanks, Steph. It is exciting to be here in Indianapolis at an in-person event, face-to-face, long hiatus that we've had.
I had never met you before 5 minutes ago.
So it's really great. We've had really great feedback from day one from our exhibitors. We've had quality conversations with the integrators and designers who've come out to the show this year. Yes, it's a smaller show, but it's been a mighty show. Business has been getting done. Deals have been made. Manufacturers are talking with new dealers. There's a lot of new exhibitors here at the show that really had a great opportunity to connect with the channel here in Indianapolis, but more important, we've had great education sessions, show floor stages like our smart stage behind.
I feel bad for you. I know what it's like to interview somebody with a mask on. It's not comfortable, and I have asthma, and it's hard to breathe in those things, and you're having to keep one on all day as you interview everybody. But you're a good sport. There were not a lot of people walking around the background. When did you do that interview?
No. That was on day 2. So some people came and got everything done on the first day just because there just were not as many exhibitors there. And they kind of felt like, oh, I had enough time to get all of those key conversations, key appointments in that first day. And so I do think the second day was a little bit smaller. So when I met with Jason, it was mid-morning on the second day of the show. So it was a little bit less busy than, so what was it? Thursday? Yeah, I think it was Thursday afternoon. So
Well, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're hoping that things are in better shape by the time we get to InfoComm. Although I think the only thing working against InfoComm is the location, to be perfectly honest with you. They have it in Florida right now. Florida's the worst state in the country. I think they said something like between 5 and 8% of all new infections are in Florida. So I don't know. I'm frustrated about all that, but hopefully I believe, cross my fingers, I truly believe InfoComm is going to happen. I have to have a positive attitude about it. So that's
for sure.
the way I feel.
Well, Gary, tell me where you're sitting today, because that's not your office. I know you're not here. So where are you?
This is my office at UNC, at the University of North Carolina. So this is my office here on campus. I'm actually teaching on campus. This is one of my teaching days, and thought I'd do the show from here because I had to get here a little bit early today to fill in for somebody who's out. But we're back teaching live.
Yeah. How's that been? How has it been teaching in person again? Has it been good?
It's, we have to wear a mask the entire time. My class today, You may remember this class. You took it, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, the new media technologies class. Mm-hmm. And so I masked for 2.5 hours, teaching constantly, lecturing for 2.5 hours. It's not comfortable, but it's exciting. It's much more thrilling to have a classroom of 45 students rather than a classroom of a Zoom wall, which is what I had the last 2 semesters. So I'm definitely happy.
Oh, for sure. I can only imagine that. I don't know. I would definitely not want to take my senior year journalism classes through Zoom. So I know that they're all glad to be in person, even though everyone's masked and everything.
By the way, you might see some bandwidth issues. We're doing some construction. I don't know if you know this, but the big lecture hall 111 is being completely redone. And the internet has had problems all week, so it might be a little choppy. And I apologize, Steph. So if it's bad, then just keep going, keep moving on.
They do say that UNC stands for the University of Never-Ending Construction, and I believe it. So that's something that's never going to change.
I always heard the University of National Champions, but
there's that as well. But speaking of university, Scott Tyner wrote a recent article called Bridging the Gap, and this is some ITSM tools for AV and IT. And so Scott is just one of those AV people who is of the belief that AV is IT. You can agree with that or disagree with that. That's a very hot topic in our industry right now. But he just kind of had to decide for his university, or was one of the people who helped decide on what ITSM, information technology service management tool they wanted to use for their school. And he just kind of talks through the decision and why they picked what they did, in hopes that it will help someone else. But it's a good little read. I think that it's useful for anyone who's working in the university AV/IT scope right now and is having to make those same decisions.
Yeah, especially if you're, it gives you a glimpse into what it's like to be kind of an AV integrator inside of a university. Speaking of AV integration, there's a lot of audio in all these classrooms. You can't have a classroom without audio. You can have a classroom without video, but you can't have one without audio. And
True.
As you can see on the screen, Shure is a big sponsor of rAVe TV, and they've got a message for you right now.
The first conference calls were simple. One person talks, everyone listens, end of discussion. As things progressed, companies tried the latest tools for connecting. Then, video conferencing exploded. More people, more rooms, more microphones. But without proper processing, added mics added issues. Echo, noise, too loud, too quiet. Digital signal processing hardware helps, but the cost and complexity confined great calls to C-suite spaces. What about everyone else? We could see each other, but could anyone understand what was being said? The audio revolution has arrived. Introducing IntelliMix Room, the first audio processing software for Windows 10 PCs optimized for Shure conferencing microphones. Rather than having to unbox and install multiple DSP units, simply download and deploy software to in-room devices in seconds. Requiring no messy cables, additional hardware, or bloated AV racks, more time and budget opens up to outfit more spaces. IntelliMix Room works seamlessly with the most popular conferencing platforms, reducing echoes, eliminating background noise, and delivering crystal clear calls. Thanks to decades of Shure audio expertise, the days of complex DSP hardware end with a simple download.
Their
Big thanks
DSP is phenomenal, and everyone is celebrating it. It's being used in corporate and higher education, and even now K through 12. If you haven't checked out their ceiling systems, especially for microarrays, you should check them out. So that's a great product. And speaking of great products, Barco has some new projectors aimed at movie theaters and amusement parks, and I love these projectors because those are really specialized markets. But at the same time, a lot of these products end up in other locations like high-end homes, but also end up in rental and staging applications, also end up in art exhibits like the Van Gogh exhibit, that kind of stuff.
That's cool. And Barco's always, I feel like, doing kind of that like next level projector like work, like, you know, in museums and like really interesting applications. So I mean,
they're always in the high end. So you know that whatever they're doing, a couple of years later, the other projector manufacturers will do. And they have the XDM series as well as the XDX series, which are both high-end RGB laser-based projectors aimed at really high-end imaging, not conference room, boardroom, meeting room, but like if you have an auditorium or you have a theater on campus, obviously that'd be an application for it, but really it's targeted to movie theaters and also places like Disney and Six Flags and places like that where you're using immersive technology. But what's next, Steph?
So the next thing is, this is something that I actually saw at CEDIA, so I thought it was cool. That so iRoom or iRoom.io, they're known by a few different names. They debuted a new thing called a Touchdoc, which is this iPad docking station that was very, very cool. They showed it at CEDIA, so it's like a little thing like in your wall where you can just like put your iPad in, and it has these really great like buttons to help you control all the things in your house. So it's very, very sleek and very easy to use, so that you don't have to take the whole iPad out to like do anything with your house. It's integrated with those buttons. So I thought it was cool.
All the control manufacturers have iPad interfaces.
Yeah, and so it's compatible. House. Yeah, it's compatible with Crestron and Control 4, RTI, Savant, like all of those control companies. iRoom is made to be able to work with pretty seamlessly. So I thought it was very cool. Like if you are someone who in your house, you like to have all of that sleek control, like Gary, you are someone who loves to have that all up in your house. So anyone who likes that, I thought that was cool. And we also have a video of them using it, and it is on our CEDIA microsite, which can be found on ravepubs.com. So whether you want to read the story or you want to watch the short product video we did film at CEDIA, all of that content is on our site.
Yep. And speaking on our site, as you can see, Legrand is another one of our big sponsors of rAVe TV, and they've got a message for us as well. So check it out.
All right. All right. Well, big thank you to them for also being a fantastic sponsor of our show. They've been great so far.
Excellent. Talk about this culture shift article. I love it.
Yeah, so this is an article that's actually been getting some pretty good traction on our site because, as you can see, if you go to ravepubs.com, on the top left, you can see just a few of the stories that are getting a lot of traction or getting a lot of clicks. People are reading them pretty often, and this one has been kind of in the top 3 for the past couple days, so I thought I would bring it up. This is Mark Coxon's article all about a shift in the culture of the AV industry because, just like every industry, things change every couple years. The AV industry, I feel like, is a little slower in terms of changing in culture. It's just different than a lot of other industries, but there is change coming. And Mark Coxon talks about how he joined a LinkedIn group, and it was all about isolating places where they thought AV culture could improve and how they would do that in a way that's respectful to everyone who's here, and to help our industry grow. And so a few of those culture shifts that they brought up were, system design that should be driven by what the customer needs, not by what manufacturers want. Other things
and
that,
of course, digital transformation is going to change a lot of that. Like, I think
for sure,
one of the cultural shifts is going to be that everyone's going to put video everywhere rather than just make video an afterthought. That's a good example of that. And that changes the way that you address people. That changes the way you dress. It changes the way you approach a room, the way you turn on a room and turn off a room, the way even all meetings being recorded.
Yes. So there are things like that. And he talks about how control needs to be platform agnostic. It doesn't that needs to be a big thing in the future of our culture. But he also talks about things that are hiring practices. People who are hiring in our industry, they should look for specific skill sets and not necessarily use AV industry experience as a qualifier, which, depending on the job, I kind of agree. And then, there are even things about, eliminating the historic impact of the good old boys in the AV industry, because it's a lot different than the industry was 5 years ago. But he talks about, there's still kind of this boys club thing lingering within our industry, and that's not going to fly for much longer. So I totally agree. And I think this is a great article to read, whether you agree, whether you disagree. Mark is really great about being really good on LinkedIn, and so if you want to talk to him about it, I'm sure you can connect with him on LinkedIn and chat with him about it, because he loves anything like this where he can dredge up a conversation. And he's also really active with the AV and the AM Twitter community, so you can also chat with him there every weekend. But I thought it was great. I think that he brings up a lot of things that are changing about the industry, but we have a certain amount of responsibility to be catalysts for that change as well. So I thought it was great.
Yeah. Speaking of catalyst, how was the tour at Draper? You actually got a behind the scenes tour of their factory. They wouldn't let you shoot any video there, but wasn't it impressive the way that they make the stuff?
It was really cool. When you think about a factory tour, I really had no sense of what that was going to be like. I joined our industry full time, a few months before COVID happened. So I hadn't gotten to go on many tours of anything. So getting to go on this was really cool. It's one of those things where I don't really think about how things are made. They just exist and I buy them. So really seeing, really just getting a sense of how many people it really takes to make a flex shade was something that I thought was really cool, because something I didn't know about Draper but was really interesting is 70% of their business or something is shades.
I didn't know that. I had no idea.
Yeah. And, we did write an article. So this is about their Draper at Home interior and exterior fabric sales kit. So this is a little kit that you can order if you are looking for a shade system in your home. 70% of their business, and that includes the home. I think that they put a lot of emphasis on their commercial, but the Draper at Home line is really to help them put emphasis on what they do for residential. So if you are looking for a flex shade system for your house, they developed this little kit. You can order it, and it comes with all the samples. They said they have like 1 million fabrics or something. So chances are, if they don't have it, you can tell them what you want, and they'll order it for you. But I had no idea that was so much of their business. And
I'm glad you went on that tour.
It was so cool. I feel like I learned so much, and it was in Spiceland, Indiana, which is like, not a booming metropolis or anything. It's a town of 850 people, and the Draper factory employs like 750 people. So every day when people go to work, they double the population of the town. So I also thought that was crazy.
That one thing that people don't know about Draper is they also make most of the remote controllable or basketball backboards and goals that go up and down in high school. So if you ever see those in the high school gyms, the great majority of them are made by Draper. So they're not just in the AV industry. And speaking of the AV industry, there was a new projector company at CEDIA. Yes. They're not that new. They're new to our part of the market. Right. Talk about that for just a moment, because I don't think a lot of people won't even know who this company is. Yeah.
So this company is called GDC Technology, and they make a lot of like the media players and like media systems in movie theaters around the world. I think actually about 30% of the movie theaters in the world use their technology, but they entered the residential market, and as soon as they announced this projector, it was like CEDIA time. So they got to then go to CEDIA and show this residential projector, but it's a big boy. It is a DLP projector through Espedio. And I will say that this projector is gorgeous in real life. Like, I got to do a video with them about it, so you can find that on ravepubs.com. But he turned it on when we were talking about it, and I was like sitting there for a second, and I was like, yeah, are you gonna turn it on? And he was like, it's on. And I was like, I can't hear it. So it is like the quietest projector I've ever come into contact with, which is so interesting.
Well, everyone seems to always be looking for a new product to carry, and hey, a lot of people that are in the commercial market also do home projects for their C-suite executives they have relationships with. You ought to check them out. It's a new company in our industry, but like you said, Steph, they've got about a 30% market share in the movie theater world for media players. So that content that's sent through the satellite directly to the theaters that plays the movies, like the Avengers movie. And by the way, have you seen any good movies? I saw the Black Widow movie this weekend, and I was
you saw Black Widow?
I thought it was the best origin story of all the Avengers movies. And the girl who played her sister, I forget her name.
Florence Pugh.
Amazing.
She was really good.
This girl's a breakout star.
Yeah. No, I saw Shang-Chi last night, actually. Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings.
How was it?
It was really good. It was so good. I think that, like, if you were not a Marvel person, you won't like it. But I was so interested and, like, happy to see a Marvel movie so integrated with, like, culture, like different cultures, and integrating that into a superhero film. And there's a great piece on Time. If you read Time magazine, Gary, one of my friends actually wrote it that I went to grad school with, and she writes about how exciting and great for her it was to see a movie where that culture was so accurately represented, and just had a lot of love for the film. So I highly recommend it.
Disney taking over Marvel was genius because they now have this bigger audience of being able to reach people globally, and they can cater messages to the audience, but they can also tell stories that appeal to all audiences. And I think I'm excited to see the movie. I didn't know much about the character. I never read the comic book. I did read Black Widow, and I did read all the Avenger comic books growing up. So I'm excited to see it. But you've been watching rAVe TV, which is our weekly TV show. We do this live. Steph and I are actually here live. It is 12:26 p.m. on the East Coast. If you want to see any of our past episodes, all you have to do is go to go ravepubs.com and click on the TV at the top of the page. Otherwise, tune in every Wednesday on LinkedIn, Rave Pubs, Twitter, and Facebook, and we'll come to you live. Steph, I can't wait to see you in the office again, maybe tomorrow.
Yep. I'll see you later, Gary. It's been a good show. Oh yeah, I am going to the beach this weekend. Me and all the girls of rAVe, we're taking a little trip together, so I'm excited about it. But
have fun.
All right, I will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.